Hello everybody. This year TryHackMe again created their own advent calendar for this year's holiday season. It is once again aimed at beginners, but I guess everyone can learn a few things from it here and there. So without further ado, my name is Avocari, and it's time to get festive and crack open the 5th window of the TryHackMe Advent of Cyber 2022. He knows when you're awake. Okay, 5th window, brute forcing. He knows when you're awake. The story. Elf McSkitty asked Elf Recon McRad to search for any backdoor in the Bandit Yeti app might have installed. If any such backdoor is found, we would learn that the bad guys might not be using it to access systems on Sander's network. Okay, so we're trying to find some sort of backdoor here. What are we going to learn today? We're going to learn about remote access services. We're going to recognize a listening VNC port scan, so I guess we're using Nmap again. We're going to use a tool in order to find out the server's password, so some sort of brute forcing. And then we're going to connect to the VNC server with a VNC client. So which remote access services are there? This is just again general information. The most known ones are SSH and RDP. And the third one would then be VNC. So SSH stands for Secure Shell. This is used for Unix-like systems in order to remote login. I guess we did it already in one of the other challenges. And it provides us with the command line interface that can then be used. RDP is a remote desktop protocol. Other versions would be remote desktop connection, RDC, or just remote desktop, RD. And there you get a graphical user interface. Like for instance on Windows. This is used a lot to connect to a Windows client. And then the third one is VNC, the virtual network computing, which provides access to a graphical interface and allows the user to view the desktop and control keyboard and mouse. So this is available for any system with a graphical interface like Windows, Linux, macOS, Android, Raspberry Pi. So next up, let's talk about authentication. Authentication refers to the process a system validates your identity. This process starts with the user claiming to be a identity, for instance, a username, and then you need to prove that this is your identity. You can either enter a password, for instance. This would be something that you know, which would be the password, or something you have. This is some sort of security token, a mobile phone, or a key file. And or something you are. So this would mean like biometric authentication on your phone, for instance, the fingerprint reader. So we can use one of these three methods in order to tell a system that we are, or we prove our identity. Passwords are prone to a myriad of attacks, so there are multiple ways. How could we get now to a password? We could use shoulder surfing. This is done a lot in public, where you just look over the shoulder. You might see the pattern of the unlocking of your phone or the PIN code for the ATM, for instance. You can guess the password. If you know the person, maybe they set the birth year. Yeah, okay. There was a problem here. Maybe the birth year is the PIN code for the phone or for the ATM card. You can use a dictionary attack, where you use some password guessing. And you use valid words inside of a dictionary, or you can do brute forcing, which is the most exhaustive one, as they already say here. And you just use any possible combination of characters and length in order to find out the password. So we are using dictionary attacks, a word list that you will most likely always use for brute forcing in this way, or dictionary attacks, is rocku.txt. It's a pretty extensive list, and you might choose a different word list depending on which country, for instance, you're in. So in America or England, you might use Rocku. For French users, you might use a French one instead of an English one. The same goes for, I don't know, Italian, Spanish, German-speaking countries. So with our Rocku word list, we have more than 40 million unique passwords. And so even if you want to try the top 5%, it's more than 500,000. So there are ways to automate that, because going through it hand by hand is not a good way. So how do we do that? We start with discovering again what is running on our service. We scan the ports and we see SSH and VNC is running. So I guess let's just do the same thing for our machine here. So we start off with an mmap scan on 10, 10, 18, 109. Sorry, always forgetting. I need root privileges for that. Should be pretty fast. There we go. Yeah, we're running the same two services. We have SSH and we have VNC. And now we come to the part where we automatically try to guess the password. For that, we use Hydra. You want to learn more about Hydra, just check out the room here. It's a pretty cool room with a lot of tutorials for Hydra with different services. So make sure to check that out if you're interested in this. For Hydra, we can then specify a username. For instance, for SSH, we could say a specific username. We tell them the word list, where it is located, with tag p. And we tell the server this is the host name or the IP address. In our case, we're using an IP address. And then the server we want to attack. So for the first example, we have Hydra with the user mark, and the word list is rockyou.txt on that IP address with SSH. Or you can also say ssh.lot// and IP address instead of providing it afterwards as a specific argument. Other methods apart from SSH would be RDP, VNC, FTP, POP3, or any other protocol that Hydra supports. Okay, so if you're not confident with the way that Hydra works and we want to see what exactly it is doing, we can use tag v for the verbose mode, where they, I think there's an example below here, yeah, where they then just print out every attack on every guess that you're making. And you can also do /d for debugging, where you get also more information about the scan you're currently doing. Okay, so we can experiment by repeating the same command with another user. So maybe we found different users and passwords. So Alexander and Rockyou. With Rockyou, we have Sakura as the password, and this would have been the 114th entry in the rockyou.txt file. So it's pretty fast. And then when we have that, we can use something to connect to a VNC server. So in the tutorial, they're using Remina. So I'm going to do the same here. We start up Remina, we enter the IP address, and then we'll probably need to enter a password in order to connect to a system. So yeah, let's start out. Use Hydra to find the VNC password of the target with the IP address. What is the password? So we don't have a username specified here. So let's see if this is also possible without a username. The username should precede. You should omit this option if the service does not use a username. So now we can look, does VNC use a username? You're prompted to enter username and password. Okay, so we can do that, but we don't need probably, so there might not be a VNC user. So I guess let's swap back to our shell and we start with Hydra. Let's omit the username for now. We just take our word list. This is located for me in opt rockyou.txt. Then we have our IP address. And then VNC, the service we want to attack. Okay, so let's keep that running. In the meantime, we can still look through a few things here. Yeah, this is already a good point. They expect us to finish within less than 5 minutes. And in the real world, of course, it might take longer to guess a password. So using repository in this case is pretty good at debugging, because then you see the progress where you're currently at. Because if we look at this here, you can see that we get no information. I think if you press enter, you might get some information or not. No, okay, so in this case, we don't get any information about the scan. So we're just hoping that it works correctly. Let's see if this might take some time. So I'm gonna fast forward here until we get the result. So after a minute, we just got a quick status update. We are doing 595 tries per minute. So we done that many in the first. And you can see right here, this would be the rest of the 14 million tries. And it would take approximately 401 hours to go through the whole list. So this is why they stated earlier on that it might take a long time to guess all the passwords, because we're just doing 595 tries in our case right here. Yeah, and there we go. Our scan now finished. We see for the host, we have that password. So I guess we can stop our scan. And let's copy that one out and submit it as a result. Perfect. So we got the right password. So now we're just going to use Remina in order to connect, not via RDP, but via VNC 10.10.18.109. And we need to enter the password. Okay. Make that bigger. Nice background. Cool with Bitcoins. THM, I see your screen is our flag. So let's submit that. By hack me, I see your screen. That is the flag written on the target screen. So yeah, so we're done with day 5. We learned a bit about the VNC protocol and about brute forcing passwords using Hydra. Hydra is a tool that you will use a lot if you're doing more CTF challenges and you need to gain access to a server without knowing the password. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want to learn more about brute forcing, again, this stay below here. If you like the topics, check out Protocols and Servers 2, Hydra, password attacks, and John the Ripper. So John the Ripper is also a cool tool. I could do a tutorial on that later on again. If you want to do that, please let me know in the comments if you want to know more about a specific topic out of this. So that's it for day 5 of the Advent of Cyber. Tomorrow we continue with day 6. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell in order to be notified when the next video is released. Other than that, I'm Avocari and have fun hacking your way through the Advent of Cyber 2022. Take care.